Good morning. I trust everybody had a good holiday. Yes, sir. Got to see the grandkids and friends. Had a few friends come over and visit. It was a good time. This week, excuse me, we'll be in Lamentations, 3rd chapter. Now Judah's been led into captivity from where we're reading today. The author, when he starts in this chapter, he's talking about how he's feeling, how the Lord has forsaken him and forsaken his people. But Brother Micah, as we continue in here, we'll discover that he comes to his senses. He realizes it's not the Lord that's brought him to this place of woe or misery. So that's where we're going to start. Chapter 3, starting at the 16th verse. It says this: He hath broken my teeth with gravel stones. He has covered me with ashes. And thou hast removed my soul far from peace. I've forgotten prosperity. And I said, my strength and my hope is perished from the Lord. Remember my afflictions and my misery, the wormwood and the gall. My soul hath them still in remembrance, and is humbled in me. The author, he's talking about how bad he feels. And I understand being in captivity, it'd be a horrible thing when a foreign army comes in. But what we don't hear from this author is it's been brought on by their own self. He's looking at it as God's forsaken them, and in a way he has, but it's through their own sin and their own how do I want to say it? Choices. Very good. So it's easy to blame the Lord for some of the things we go through, but from the beginning of the book to the end of the book, just like Adam and Eve, when they sinned against God, they didn't want to take it on themselves and say, I've sinned, I need to repent. Adam said it was the woman said it was the snake, and so forth. So they don't want to, in this chapter, in this book, they don't want to admit that they've sinned against the Lord. They want to blame the Lord for it. They want to pass the buck, as it was.
Like most people do that.
Yeah.
They want to blame God for it. So, me, I did that.
I think we all did, didn't we?
Yeah.
Like I tried to tell the kids when they were younger, your choices, when you get to certain age, you got to make your own choices then. I can't make them for you anymore. But those choices come with consequences.
Right.
Sometimes life-altering consequences.
It's true.
Well, that was a common theme in the history of
Oh, yeah.
Ever since they left bondage in Egypt, it was, every couple years they had done evil in the sight of the Lord, and the Lord had to deliver them into the hand of the enemy.
Yeah.
So, it's nothing new. It's just like they never learned their lesson.
Yeah, we think, and I've said this before, we look at it and say, what was wrong with those folks? Couldn't they realize we do the same thing? You know? We really do, don't we, Brother Jim? Yeah,
Well, what I took from this lesson is that God punishes you out of love.
correction. Yeah, it's correction.
Yeah.
We don't always believe it, but I bet our kids didn't either when they got a whipping.
What's that?
We don't always believe it's out of love, but I bet our kids didn't either when they got whipped.
Oh, yeah.
I remember the old saying, my dad, this hurts me worse than it'll hurt you. Yeah, right.
I never, yeah, I never agreed with that, but it didn't matter.
Yeah.
I've said this before. Danny Thomas always said that his dad punished him out of love. My dad loved me a lot.
I've never heard that, but it's true, right?
Good one.
This, right. Yeah. Right. It was, yeah. I thought it was interesting when I read that 16th verse, brother, and it says, wait on, hang on, I got lost. It says, he's broken my teeth with gravelled stones, and I read the same thing that you did, but I thought of my dad when I was a young teenager, and wrestle with him. And he's pretty strong, and he'd put me down pretty hard on the ground when we wrestled, and say, "I'm going to make you like it, boy," you know. And I'm thinking of this: the Lord's putting us down to realize who He is. That if we come against Him, out of love, He's going to show His authority, or show there is a there's a consequence, as you said, Janetta, for our choices. So I read that too, Brother Kerry, that about the making of the bread, and that was good. But I thought of that too, that when we go against God, there is a penalty for that, Anyone else?
I always ask the question, do you think or believe that that you pay for in this life some of the sins you committed in your past life? In your life, past life,
Before you were saved?
before you're saved. Do you think you pay for any of them for the things that God allows to happen to you during your Christian life?
I think so.
I do
It even
too.
says in the Bible, your sins are visited upon your children for generations. And that could be sins you committed before you were saved. The way you raised them, things you did, they're going to have a consequence on your life.
Well, haven't we been taught that when we get saved, that those sins are covered by the blood and at the foot of the cross and never to be remembered again? Haven't we been taught that?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's true. That doesn't mean it doesn't have a consequence. If I go rob a bank and I get saved that next Sunday, I'm still going to go to jail if I get caught. There's still consequence for my sin, whether Christ has forgiven us. That doesn't mean He hasn't forgiven us.
That's what I would say too, is the spiritual consequences are no more.
Right.
Right? We no longer have to, we don't pay the price for those when we get to heaven, because Jesus Christ paid the price for those, right?
Right.
So those
Okay.
sins are forgiven. They're under the blood. But like Janetta said, the physical consequences of the decisions that we make, they're very real. And I think they can linger if, especially depending on the severity and just, what the consequences of your actions are.
Well, think of
point that we're not saved.
Right.
Mhm.
We're still saved, we still have to just pay for some of the things that we did.
I don't,
We
go
continue
ahead.
to pay for those things, especially when we see, like Janetta said about our family, we see where we go, we see where we went wrong, and we punish ourselves. But as
Sure.
part of, I think that's reminding you of it, and you learn from those things. When you forget those things, then you're not continually learning not to repeat those habits, not to repeat those things that you've done.
I can't remember if it's in Proverbs or where it is, but it talks about, and I apologize, I just came to mind. But it talks about taking fire in our soul or shouldn't that affect us? I mean, the smoke. And I'm thinking to myself, and I'm probably misphrasing that, but some sins, we have a scar. And even though it might not keep us out of heaven, and I believe we're forgiven, those memories or those thoughts will stay with us. And I think that could be a good thing, that we don't want to.
I consider, because the Bible says you're forgiven for our deeds in the West, then why do we remember? So, like you're saying, that leaves a scar, but I believe there, like Harry said, there's a lesson to be learned.
Yeah.
And we're just stupid enough that we need to remember because we're gonna repeat it, just like Israel. It keeps us from repeating that
Yeah.
mistake.
Yeah, that's what I was getting at.
And it teaches us it reminds us where God's brought us from.
It does,
Right?
doesn't it? Yeah.
Because God always had to bring back to the memory. I delivered you from Egypt. I brought you through the wilderness. I gave the land that I promised you. And it was just this whole process of the children of Israel forgot that God was everything that they needed. And so they began to rely on things of the world and their own doings and the gods of the people that was around them. And that's why they always turned away from God, because they forgot where God brought them from. And they forgot what he could do for them. And I think of it like this, right? We struggle with things before we come to the Lord. We come to the Lord.
Mhm.
That doesn't mean we're never going to struggle again, right? Because there's going to be those things, those temptations that we struggle with, even when we are saved. And so it's just this complicated dynamic that we're going to have, we're going to struggle with until we get to heaven.
Right, I think that kind of pulls right back to where we've been for months, which is faith, that he has a plan. He knew you were gonna make those choices, he knew there's gonna be consequences, he knew what you would have to live with, he knows it all.
Right.
And so our job is to have faith in God's plan, even though we make those stupid mistakes. He's
Yeah.
got a plan to use those stupid mistakes for his purpose.
Right.
I remember my dad telling me a story, which he smoked for years, and he got saved, oh my goodness, when he was in his late 30s. And he believed he should quit smoking, that it was wrong. But regardless of what you guys think, that's what he thought. So he quit smoking. And like 30 years later, he said, I'm cleaning a fish and getting it, after he went fishing. And he said when he finished, washed his hands and reached up in his pocket for his cigarettes and hadn't smoked in 30 years. And he said, what is wrong with me that I would look for a cigarette after 30 years? How could this, But I think sin is like that. I'm not saying about smoking, but, I don't know how that mind works, but to want a cigarette after 30 years, or a thought come to your mind that you haven't thought of in years and think, why did I think of that? Why would I want that? I don't understand it. But I do believe that it's a pressing way. What was good enough yesterday, we need to press farther today. Go ahead.
Sometimes I think that we're reminded of those things, just like he used to smoke, just like we used to commit sin. The thoughts come to our mind to remind us what God has saved us from.
Yeah.
Well, I think that's true, but, if we bring our kids up where they're supposed to be, God willing, they don't make the stupid mistakes that we did, and they don't have those scars on their lives. That's
Sure.
what the Bible talks about, your sin will pass on for generations. I think that's what that is. And if we can trust in the Lord and make good choices, and sometimes you're still not right, even when you think you're making the right choice,
Yeah.
a lot less painful as far as those scars.
Yeah, but I think the enemy, he badgers us with our sin too.
Oh, he
Keeps us
does.
down. He likes to keep us down with that sin, you know, and we gotta remind ourselves that that's who we used to be. And when he does that, he's getting at me real bad, then I just remind him all that God did for me, took those things from me.
That's
So
good.
Go ahead and remind me of them, then I'm gonna thank God that much more. Okay?
Yeah,
Right.
that's when we need to praise him more.
That's right.
Sure.
Phew, glory to
Saving
God.
us from that awful thing.
It's true.
I think of, the United States has been blessed
Yeah.
by God.
He sure has.
And, I guess I'm just concerned that he's gonna punish us, and it seems like that time is running.
Yeah, I think we're seeing that now.
Absolutely, absolutely.
I've heard it said, I don't know what you guys think about this, but I look at some of our leadership and I think, how is this possible? This is just me speaking. But then I've heard it said that we get the kind of leadership we deserve. And when you think about all the things that we've done in the last, my time, taking prayer out of schools, just everything like that. There's been so many laws that's been changed. You used to not be able to do a lot of things on Sunday, which now it's, wide open. If you travel very far today to come to church, you'll see people fill at the ballparks and doing everything but coming to church. And you got to wonder what kind of judgment is going to come upon this,
Well, the Old Testament tells us exactly what kind of judgment's going to come. Because that Old Testament is there to read and learn so we don't make the same
Remind us.
mistakes. But
It's true.
like I said, we're just stupid enough to not really take heed to the word. But you remember in the Old Testament where it talks about that king had turned so far from God that he put a curse on them until the grandson was there. And then he only lifted the curse for whatever the grandson's reign was. And then that curse was put back down on them. But that's what I think America's going to go through. Because they're not reading the Old Testament. They're making the same mistakes. There's no new sin under the sun. It's always been here. We just, it's just allowed. It's accepted.
I think we as Christians are responsible for a lot of things that happen because we don't all stick together.
It's true.
75% people that claim to be Christians, then we ought to be able to do what we want to do.
Absolutely.
But we don't. We're so mealy-mouthed, we don't do that stuff. We
Yeah.
just sit back and let them do it to us, you know what I mean?
Because then
Take
they
the
say
prayer
it's a
out
hate
of
crime.
school, take the Ten Commandments out of school. We let them do it because we didn't say nothing, did we?
Yeah, we didn't stick up for,
We didn't change
yeah.
the people that did it, the government that did it, we didn't change them.
Right.
We left them in there.
Yeah.
And those governments teach our children and create more of those.
Yeah, create laws that shouldn't be created.
So I think we're actually responsible.
We are. I mean, we need to be humble. We need to hit the altar. There's a lot of things that we need to address, to pray about. Because we've let it, you're right, we've let it go too long, haven't we?
And if you stop and think how many times, just think about yourself, how many times have you knelt down and prayed that the Ten Commandments could go back in school, or that they wouldn't have took them out?
Right, but we do nothing about it, do we? We don't.
What was the state, was it the Carolinas that passed that state constitution that they couldn't remove the Ten Commandments, I think it was?
They just did that.
Yeah.
Yeah, but they're bringing it back. They're gonna have to teach the Bible. That was Louisiana in the news.
Yeah.
They're gonna have to,
Good.
yeah.
How can you not look around today and say, man, that we're way off base? We need to get back to the way things used to be. We really do.
Back to the old path.
Yes.
They're in.
That's right.
Remember too, Satan knows this book. And he uses it against us.
That's right.
He really does.
And God allows them to do that.
Sure.
I think. I do. God won't tempt you, but I think sometimes he'll test you,
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
you know.
Test you.
I,
that there's a time that it won't.
Well, the Bible does talk about you can have hope in your prayer, and it may delay God's timeline, but God's got a timeline that's going to be fulfilled.
I agree with that.
He's unchanging.
As I swore you
Yeah.
about,
Exactly.
I know in Revelation it talks about, help me, Micah, that if people would turn from their evil ways, there wouldn't be a falling away. There wouldn't be judgment. But I don't think people can help but to fall away because of their hearts. If you're not following the Lord, I don't see how you can turn your nation around.
And some people say that kind of falls into that predestination thing, but I think it's just God's knowledge. He just knew what we're going to do, when we're going to do it. He already knows. It's not really,
Yep.
I don't consider it predestination.
Only way that can happen, Randy, is for God to change people.
Yeah. Well, here's what it says in Jeremiah, Janetta. It says, "The heart is deceitful above all things and desperately wicked. Who can know it? But the Lord searches the heart and try the reins, even to give every man according to his ways and according to the fruit of his doing." So there'll be a judgment, I believe, good or bad. There'll be a judgment, whatever you've done, it's gonna come out. Anybody else?
Our job as Christians is not to sit around and wait for the Lord to come back.
Mm-hmm.
Right? The Bible says to look up for your redemption draws nigh. And I believe that, we should be prepared that Jesus Christ could come back at any moment.
Right.
But our job as Christians is to make sure that everybody that we come in contact with knows that Jesus Christ is coming back and they need to be ready too.
Right.
Right? So if our job is not to just sit there and wait, our job is to push and to press and to keep going for Jesus Christ to make his name known. And I think it goes back to the school thing, right?
Yeah.
I think our job should always be to get Christ back into the center of all things. And we shouldn't just get to the point where we wait and I just think it goes to show that our job as Christians is never done until Jesus Christ comes back and gets his church.
Yeah,
Right.
just to use this as an example, remember when Highland School, wasn't it Highlands that had the issue with the transgender kids? There should have been, and I'm guilty of not, but there should have been a Christian outpouring at that board indicating what they should have done biblically, and we didn't. We just sat here and talked about it, and we still do. So I'm just kind of over here. It's our job.
It's our faith has to be active, doesn't it? It does. It's easy to look back and say, I wish, or, we all have loved ones that we would love to see saved. And it seems like when we talk about the Lord with them or invite them to church or something and they turn us down, we shut down. We don't try after the first or second time. I know I've been guilty of that myself. As Mark says, what are you afraid of? They're going to hell anyway. I mean, why not pray about it and go back? Yes. One of the things we need to do is seek the Lord because he will tell us when the right time is, what to say, instead of trying to do it on our own. Sometimes we do that. We're on our own instead of following his lead, what he wants us to do, when he wants us to do it, what to say. I believe that's so important.
What he tells us to do, you open your mouth and I'll fill it.
Yeah.
I'm just thinking about what we've been talking about is we need leadership to do the things that we want to do. If we don't have anyone stand up and become a leader, we're not going to follow them. We're not going to do anything. There's always got to be somebody that's strong enough to
I believe that if we do listen to the Lord, I don't think leaders are born. I think they are created.
Yeah, well, they're not like they were back in the New Bible, in the New Testament. They're nothing like that. Our leadership is nothing like the apostles. They'll stand and preach it, but they won't do it.
Yeah. It's like a mouth.
I was saying about, Governor, I asked that question, do you think it's going to change? Well, we always gotta pray that it will, but it does look like, man, Lord, is it gonna keep going like this? Is it gonna get worse? You just think of that. There's always something, and our children are lost. I mean, we gotta get hard on them. I wasn't saying that we just give up. No, absolutely not. That's our, that the government will change, because it will, but it just looks so discouraging, from a set of natural eyes, and people want this, it seems like that's what they want, and it's just hard to understand sometimes. It's not, though, because that's what the enemy wants.
Here, I think that's why he tells us that in the back of the book.
Yes.
He tells us what's going to happen because it will be a discouraging thing. So I think that's why he reveals that, so we can say, this is God's plan, and I just got to keep going.
I think, and not to make excuses, but I don't think people know any better. And that's why we need to, yes. We need to let them know how good the Lord is and show in our lives what he's done for us. And they watch, don't they? If they see something attractive in us as far as how we follow the Lord and the love we have for him, that makes the difference, I believe. It's not, it, sure.
I did everything I could to discourage him and to hate on him and tell him filthy thing. I mean, I was bad, and that was 1985.
Mm-hmm.
87, but I did, and he led me to the Lord then. Of course, I picked by accident for decades, but you couldn't stand that guy, but then couldn't stand him, but then I wanted what he had.
Yes.
He had something that I could not even understand, and that love and that compassion, and I was drawn to that, and I was. I thought I hated it, but that was my flesh. But my spirit wanted what he had.
You were warring against your spirit and your flesh. Sure.
But right there is the key, because, I think as Christians, we still have to show our love and be a witness, and because we know, we're living in perilous times, and times, are gonna get worse, and as things progress, people are gonna be looking for hope. They don't see it in us, who are they gonna see it in?
That's right.
So,
Yeah.
Let your light shine, right?
Let's read a little more before we run out of time. It's good, guys. Don't let me discourage you. But I want to get this in, okay? I think we're at verse 20. My soul hath them still in remembrance, and is humbled in me. This I recall to my mind, therefore I have hope. He's changing his mind on how he's looking at things. It is of the Lord's mercies that we are not consumed, because his compassions fail not. They are new every morning. Great is thy faithfulness. The Lord is my portion, saith my soul. Therefore I hope in him. And amen. And that's true, Janetta. We need to show the world what he's all about, his tender mercies, what he's done for us, in our lives. I look, we had a cookout the other day, and I look at some of the families, and I tell you, I think if they would turn to the Lord, I look at the kids. I don't think I'm judging. Maybe I am, and I'm fooling myself. But I look at the kids, and I think they're into this, they're into that. if they would turn their life over to the Lord, oh. But then I look at the relatives and friends that came that serve the Lord, and the good things that's happened to their families. And it's not coincidence. It's not. And I think if you would turn your life over to the Lord, how much better would your life be and your kids? Do you know what I'm saying? I'm not trying to be judgmental, Anna. I'm just saying, look how the Lord has blessed your family. And look, you don't want the Lord in your life. Look the way your family is turning out. Am I being judgmental? Am I? I mean, but you just look over, your own family and you think, it could be so much better for you. But because of the sins in your life, it affects everything. No, we didn't. No, you're right. Sure. Hey, it's my life,
Yeah, okay, but now we want to put you God, but once we see the truth, we want them to know the truth. They
Right.
don't know just like we did.
But you see him suffering for different reasons, and you think it doesn't have to be this way, Choices. Go ahead.
The respect, that's one. The discipline is another.
Respect in what way, Anna? I'm
How
sorry.
they dress is another one.
Yeah.
How people talk today is another one.
Right.
You hear words that if we'd have said when we were a kid, I don't know what would have happened to us.
Right.
We had respect for our elders. People don't have respect for a lot
Sure.
of them.
But you gotta remember, we're looking at them, but they're also looking at us.
That's true.
I have a grandson, and I don't know what, someone told me, he doesn't have, we've been to parties, graduations and things with his beer. And he doesn't like to drink in front of grandma, because he knows I don't approve.
He has respect for
So
you.
he's looking, like I said, we're looking at what they do, but they also see how we live.
Yeah.
I have an uncle, a preacher. He's real close to God, and it's funny, people. I mean, he's very strict, and people kind of joke around about how close he is to God, and real strict and all that. But when they need prayer, who do you think they call on? That's who they call on. But he lives a life, as you say, that people admire, because he does not. He'll be good to you as gold. I mean, he'll do anything for you. But as far as his life, his life with the Lord, man, it comes first. There's no two ways about it. And people make fun of him about it, but he's such a good man. He really is. I admire him.
You have to think about, like, when Noah was building the ark,
Uh-huh.
was his witness just, I'm going to keep building? Or did he go out and, I think he did go out and try to gather people. He did. But I think it came to a point where he just kept building.
He's a
And I
preacher.
think that's your life, the reflection of your life, like you guys are talking about. You shine that light in your family or your friends or, even out in public. I know when I was doing, when I worked at that law office downtown, I would get there early in the morning while I was turning the gospel station on. And I remember somebody said, who keeps turning the channel to this gospel station? They're like, oh, it's Janetta when she gets here at like 4:30 or 5. And he's like, oh, after that, they never cussed in front of me. They had a respect for what I believed in and sharing the gospel when I had the opportunity. So sometimes the way you live and what you do it puts a seed in their mind. We plant the seed that he brings forth
Increase.
the increase.
It's just like my grandchildren, we were all together this week, and, and they used some language when they were here, somebody, it was my turn. I said, oh, I'm so sorry. I shouldn't have said that, I forgot you were here.
True.
We had a couple guys in our church in Florida that I have heard them
Sure.
among adults, not only children.
They're not a Christian.
Because I know children that way.
Yeah.
I just don't think you ought to do that kind of stuff.
Right, right. Well, Bible says out of the heart, whatever's in the heart's going to come out.
I heard something last night on TV that I never thought I'd ever. What is the number one show on TV? Anybody know?
That is where we're at. I forgot.
What is it then?
I forgot. I don't watch it, but you see.
What is it?
What is it? I can't remember.
What's the big Yellowstone?
Yeah, Yellowstone.
Yellowstone.
Hmm.
Have any of you listened to any?
No,
I listened to 5 minutes of it, and I must have heard the F word 50 times
I've never heard that on TV.
on that, and that's supposed to be number one
Show.
on TV. And they're using that F word. The men are, when they're talking to each other and talking about their horses and things that they had. That's what they was using, that F word. Now here, that's a light. Is that a light to the lost people that are seeking God or anything? See something like that?
Yeah,
Knowing that that's the number one show on TV.
we've definitely fallen away from the Lord. There was a time that would never have happened.
Yeah, it never would have happened 10 years ago.
Yeah. This nation's really fallen away from the Lord. It has. I believe if time goes on, we're gonna really see some bad things come about. So keep praying, keep trusting in the Lord, because we need Him. We need Him now more than ever.
Yes, we do.
I believe, this is just my opinion, but I believe this nation is created to get the gospel out to the rest of the world.
That's what it's for.
And I believe that, Brother Butch.
I believe it too.
And when the world has been evangelized, I believe it's going to get real bad.
The scripture tells us that it came to the Jews first, then to the Greeks. So
Yeah.
the Jews wouldn't send the gospel out to the nation, so God turned to the Gentiles, Greeks, whatever you want to call them. The scripture calls them both names. But turn to them and save, as all the apostles were saved for that purpose, to send the gospel out to the nation, because the Jews wouldn't do it.
Do you believe the Jews will get the last chance?
Well, I believe they'll get a last
I do
chance.
too. Yeah.
But there'll be a few that
Accept Him.
they'll
Yeah.
still stick to their old way of doing things and be lost out.
Anybody else? All right. Brother Kerry, will you lead us out with prayer? Thank you, everyone, for coming out.